Human civilization has split the atom. We mapped the human genome. We put a telescope a million miles away from Earth so that we can look backwards through billions of years of cosmic history and stare directly into the fucking infancy of the universe. And somehow, after all of that technological advancement, a grown man will sit down, grab his own dick with a completely dry hand, and just start sanding away. Just yanking it. Grinding away at himself like he's trying to remove an old coat of paint. Dry beating is absolutely fucking insane when you actually stop to think about what you're doing. And I can say that because I'm not speaking from some position of moral superiority here. I'm not talking from an armchair here. I'm not an armchair beater, okay? I'm a former dry beater, all right? I'm not some armchair gooner talking theory, right? I've been down in the trenches. I was a former dry beater myself. I have participated in the barbarism. I have bathed my hands in blood. First, actually look at your hands. Like, take a real good look at them. At least I'm going to take a look at mine. I work out. I lift weights. I have calluses all across my meat grippers, okay? By touching them, right, they're very dry. I have very dry hands as well. So we're going to have really hard skin, and it's very dry and coarse. My hands feel exactly like industrial grade fucking sandpaper. Grabbing barbells, deadlifting over 400 something odd pounds, right? Doing a metric fuck ton of weighted pull-ups, right? I spend several hours every week deliberately making my hands and body rougher and tougher and more resistant to friction, right? I want to be build Ford tough. And then I'm supposed to take these same fucking hands home and grip the most delicate, most sensitive piece of equipment that I own. There's nothing good, nothing normal, and there's nothing good or delicate or soft coming out of this goddamn arrangement. Do you imagine the dog paw medicine guy? You know that guy that's on YouTube terrorizing your YouTube algorithm, just doing some crazy superhuman shit? He was using dog paw medicine to make his hands tougher so that he could be better at rock climbing and other weird niche fitness shit. And he unironically started climbing fucking brick walls with little to no grip, just using his fucking fingertips with how grippy his fucking hands are. Imagine that guy beating his shit dry. There was a video of him where he was touching metal and it was generating electricity. Electricity was coursing through his fucking calluses. Imagine that on your fucking meat, brother. One stroke and he just ripped it off completely. It's over, right? He's dead. Dry beating, in my opinion, has to be one of the most barbaric forms of self-care mankind has ever accidentally invented and or stumbled upon. It's masochistic, all right? It's Catholic levels of self-flagellation. And the worst part is that most of us probably learned these habits when we were teenagers, when we were fucking kids, right? When we were teens, nobody knew any better, right? Nobody was there to teach us properly. Because when you're going through puberty, right, and you don't know what the fuck is happening, one day, right, you're just some kid just playing on his little PlayStation, eating his cereal, right? You go take a nap, you go to sleep, and suddenly your body downloads some brand new update, and you're experiencing all these weird little feelings, and nobody gave you the actual fucking patch notes to this update. Nobody explained anything properly. You just know that certain things suddenly feel real good. Certain images suddenly become very interesting, right? And your brain is being bombarded by a fuck ton of hormones and chemicals. Your entire body is just being attacked. Naturally, you start experimenting with these new sensations and feelings. And then afterwards, you're done with this experimentation. You feel a degree of fucking disgust after doing so. You just feel like you did something wrong. I think we all started as dry beaters. I started as a dry beater. You guys probably did too. I had a buddy of mine once tell me that when he first started doing it, I genuinely don't know what conversation we were having, but I know that he just dropped this fun fact on me the first time that he beat his meat. You know, in your body, you're just talking shit with your friends. You know what I mean? He told me that the first time he did it, he genuinely felt like the police were gonna come get him, like someone was gonna bust down his door and take him away. You know, he thought he did something horribly wrong that he wasn't supposed to. He thought it was over, right? He thought his life was over, that he's now a criminal, wanted criminal. Nobody actually teaches you how to properly navigate any of these things. The sex ed that you get is usually covers like the important stuff like pregnancy, protection, diseases, anatomy, right? It covers the big parts, right? The big, like overall know-hows so that you can protect yourself in that realm. But nobody, no grown adult is going to stand in front of like 30 odd teenagers and say, all right, boys, let's start talking about polishing the knob. Let's teach you boys how to choke the chicken, how to spank the monkey. All right, let's teach you boys how to fucking jork it crazy style, right? That's not what they're there to do, right? If you fucking did that, you'd be escorted out of the building before lunch, dude. You'd be in jail. So everybody just figures it out themselves, right? And boys already being the fucking animals that we are, especially when you're hanging around with your buddies and the type of socialization that you do, right? Everything is rough, right? You punch each other, you wrestle, you jump off shit, you hit each other with sticks, right? Those are good times, as kids, pretending that you were fighting with fucking lightsabers, beating each other up, pretending you were in the WWE, fucking flinging yourself off off of high railings. Dude, I did that shit. That shit was fun. That shit was so much fun. I remember I once gave someone the fucking 619, dude. I 619 kicked them, and then I did a frog splash on the concrete, by the way. We were doing this shit on concrete. I once saw a buddy of mine get fucking pedigreed by a fucking upperclassman, dude. That shit was funny as fuck. If you're a boy and you never got into fights or fake wrestling matches with your friends, dude, I don't know what... dude, I'm sorry for you. You missed out. You missed out a lot. But regardless, with this mentality, you spend your entire childhood trying to discover how much blunt force trauma the human body can withstand before somebody's mom finds out, right? You spend your entire childhood just beating yourself up, being aggressive, being intense, just, that is how you play. When you have that mentality and then it develops, right, with gooning, you're probably thinking, fuck it. It feels good, man. It feels all right. I'm a dry beater. You just dry beat it. Right? Nobody ever teaches you how to properly beat your meat. And if you got foreskin, you got another fucking excuse. Because you think, oh, I've got that natural glide, fella. I got that natural glide. I have a built-in convertible system. Yes. Congratulations, right? Nature gave you a factory-installed suspension, and you decided that means the vehicle never needs maintenance. You start thinking you're immune to this shit. As if an engine could run without fucking oil. You start treating your dick like the eraser's end of a fucking pencil. You just start shaving away, right? You start using that shit like crazy, just rubbing that shit crazy style. You're quite literally sharpening that fucking pencil until eventually there is no fucking pencil left. It's just a little stump. Human beings cannot leave well enough alone. And one of mankind's great innovations, the sock. People nutting into socks is just as fucking insane. Like that. And I know what the argument is. Oh, it's convenient for cleanup. You don't have to deal with the hands, right? The friction of the hands, right? It creates a little buffer in between. But the reality of it is that no, it's not actually any of that stuff. It's a literal fucking sock. And I'm saying this again. When I was younger, dude, I used the sock too. I understand. And for a while, you convinced yourself that this is perfectly normal, that this is fine, that this is the way. This is the proper way to do it. Until eventually you realize that it doesn't actually feel as good as you think it does. And it actually, you're not healing as well as you think you should be healing. Because now we've advanced past beyond merely dry friction. And now we have added a brand new factor called fabric. You've introduced textile engineering into the situation. Now the material is actively absorbing moisture while you're rubbing against it. You have created moisture wicking genital sandpaper. Nike Dry Fit for your cock. This is a technological regression. Right after a while you grow older, right? You actually have sex with a living, breathing woman. And then you realize, sex doesn't feel like anything at all like masturbation feels like, or anything that I've been doing. A woman's vagina doesn't feel like my grubby hand. And that's when it clicked, and I realized, wow, so this is not what it actually feels like. Then the next realization hit me. If you spend years getting accustomed to one extremely specific type of pressure, speed, and grip your hand. Whenever you eventually find yourself in a real situation with a real life woman, your body, in this case, your little member, your fella, right, and your brain is going to tell you where the fuck is the gorilla grip? Where the fuck is the hydraulic press level pressure, right? Where's the death grip? What's going on here, right? Where's the cheese grating? What's going on? And that moment can be very humiliating as a man, because there's nothing quite like being with somebody that you really like and everything is going well, and then all of a sudden your body suddenly decides, nope, it's gummy worm time. Oof. And now everybody's fucking confused. You're confused. She's confused. She starts thinking that she did something wrong, right? She starts thinking, oh my God, he does not like me, right? And then you have to explain to her that, no, sweetheart, it's not you. You gotta tell her all this shit, and she's not gonna believe it. She's not gonna believe an ounce of it. And you're trying to have a negotiations with your own body. It just gets worse after that, right? Then you get the pity reassurance from her. She's just like, oh no, it's okay. Don't worry. It happens, right? It happens to other guys. But no, it's not supposed to happen to me. Nothing is more belittling in that situation than getting pity in that situation, right? It really just completely disarms you. Like your entire body just sinks, dude. And trust me, and things could get even worse, right? She could just start joking around about it, which ideally isn't the worst case scenario. This could be a good case scenario, depending on your personality and how you take it as a joke, right? Because if you're sensitive as fuck, you're not gonna take it as a joke. She starts fucking performing CPR on the fucking thing, right? I've experienced different variations of all this shit. Okay, I've seen wars. I've seen and lived through things that your feeble little mind would not comprehend. Here's another groundbreaking revelation I somehow did not discover until adulthood. Your dick isn't supposed to hurt afterwards. Did you know that? Fun fact. Apparently pain is not part of the intended user experience. When you're finished and you're done, and you're not supposed to feel all that sore. You're not supposed to feel like that at all. If you're causing yourself irritations, soreness, chafing, right? If you have a little bit of inflammation going, some muscle soreness in the member, maybe stop doing whatever the fuck it is that you're doing. I know this sounds groundbreaking, I know. And once I started actually treating that part of my body and that part of my life, I guess, with a little bit more care, using proper lubrication. At first, it was actually kind of annoying because I was accustomed to the death grip. I was accustomed to the cheese grater hands. I was like, where's the friction? Where's the sauce? Where's the gabagool? Where's the feeling? Where's the emotion? Right? But eventually, it just got better. It became better, and I got used to the subtle sensations and feelings and all and whatnot. Right? It started feeling a lot more comfortable as well. Far less irritation, far less frustration, no more pain, no more fucking suffering, right? Using a lighter grip, getting used to lighter and finer sensations. Less sense that I had just gotten into a fucking fist fight with my dick. And weirdly enough, there was less shame around the whole thing too, because I had to take that extra amount of care to try and reach fulfillment and satisfaction with as least sensation as possible. And that somehow it was more fulfilling that way, as opposed to just fucking taking advantage of yourself, dude. It was far more relaxing, right? It was more of an experience. It developed into more of an experience as opposed to a biological need. And because I stopped feeling like this aggressive, gross, secretive thing that I was doing to myself, and started feeling like something I was actually doing for myself and my future partner, right? Because then, everything could work wonderfully for whoever the lucky gal would be, which is an extremely sentimental conclusion to a shit post of a video, but whatever. And this is where I think men need to reframe it. Think of lubrication the way you think about skincare. Whenever you're about to crank your hog, think of lubrication as skincare. All right? People have these insane routines now, right? They use cleansers, toners, serums, retinol, moisturizer. You got to get SPF, night cream, morning cream, right? Spending 45 minutes every night maintaining the structural integrity of your goddamn face to just look as aesthetically pleasing as you fucking can. And then they look downward at their fucking cock and balls and they're like, yeah, I'm fisting that. I'm destroying that. I'm gooning fucking crazy style. I'm Goomba stomping my cock. And when I say lubrication, I don't mean fucking spit, you fucking animal. You disgusting pig. I'm not talking about spit. I'm not talking about any... I'm talking like at the very least, not talking about random lotions. I'm talking about actual fucking real lube, right? And if you use lotion, Vaseline, I mean, shit, fuck it, dude. I guess. I mean, it's better than nothing. But you gotta have something. You gotta butter the biscuit. You know, you gotta put some butter on that toast. It's crazy because we live in an era of pure optimization. Men optimize fucking everything. Your workout routine, your protein intake, your creatine timing, and your intake of fucking creatine, your sleeping schedule, your fucking hair protocol, right? Your beard protocol, right? Looks maxing protocols. Using math equations to figure out the proper fucking angle that your eyebrows, your jaw, and your nose all sit at, and to try and scientifically gauge if you're attractive or not, when in reality it's just you're either hot looking to some people or you're not. We optimize our desks, our gaming spaces, our monitors, right? We spend thousands of fucking dollars on our hobbies for fun. We'll watch a 47-minute video on benchmark comparisons before buying a graphics card, and we'll watch a 40-minute workout video about a new routine that somebody dropped, right? We will research the perfect protein powder, the perfect lifting program, the perfect everything. And when it comes down to the most basic physical function a man has, right? One of the basic necessities that we feel, one of the core fundamental needs that every human has as a living creature, we believe that our hardworking man hands are more than enough, right? We just think, yeah, just raw hand, right? That's the protocol. No research, no optimization, no nothing. Just hammering away, absolutely destroying the equipment. It just makes no fucking sense, dude. We're meticulous about everything else, but with this, we're just fucking animals. We're primal. And here's what I'm going to do, something deeply irresponsible. I'm going to derive a life philosophy from this shit post of a fucking video, because I actually think there's something broader here. We as men are very good at convincing ourselves that unnecessary suffering is somehow proof that we're doing something correctly. You need to be tough. You need to work hard. You need discipline. You need to push through discomfort. And yeah, obviously, sometimes life does just fucking suck and you just have to deal with it. You know, you have to do the difficult things. But there's a difference between enduring necessary discomfort versus just refusing to take care of yourself. Those two things are not the same thing. Sometimes you're not developing resilience. Sometimes you're simply just fucking sanding your dick for no good fucking reason whatsoever. Laziness, right? Laziness to take care of yourself. And we literally do this everywhere. We tolerate something miserable for years because changing it requires acknowledging, hey, maybe this isn't working, right? Maybe I have to acknowledge this sunken cost fallacy that I have going on, right? Maybe I need help. Maybe I need rest. Maybe I need to take a completely different approach to things. Maybe I don't have to actually treat myself like complete fucking garbage in order to prove that I'm a man. Because think about it. When another person is involved, suddenly you care, right? When another person is now seeing, present, or whenever it's about another person, all of a sudden you start caring a lot more whether they're comfortable, enjoying themselves. You start paying attention to their needs, right? You start adjusting, you start communicating, you start being careful. But why are you doing that when someone is there, when you should already be doing that for yourself? Why are you not included in that list of people who that comfort matters to as well? Your comfort and your needs matter. But genuinely, you can't death grip.
every aspect of your life and expect it to keep performing indefinitely. You can't grind everything into dust and then act confused when eventually something stops working. You know, you can't endlessly work something to death. Sometimes taking care of yourself is not weakness. Sometimes the solution is embarrassingly simple. Sometimes you don't need to tough it out. Sometimes you just need some fucking lube, dude. As simple as that. So the next time you're suffering unnecessarily and telling yourself that it's building character, ask yourself one simple question. Am I becoming stronger? Or am I just sanding my dick? Am I just obliterating my penis?